Since the founding of the Illuminati, a number of officials have died at the Vatican under highly suspicious circumstances, including 3 popes. In each case, the death of the official was timed so as to have a great political significance, the telltale mark of the secret brotherhood influencing world politics for their benefit. In 1939, Pope Pius XI was poised to release a statement condemning both the Nazis and the fascists, groups doing the kind of evil that the Illuminati would be behind. But before he could make the public statement, he suddenly died. A close assistant, Cardinal Tisserand, was heard to repeat again and again in French, "They have assassinated him! They have assassinated him!" His body was quickly embalmed, making an autopsy and proof of cause of death impossible. In 1978, it seemed the secret brotherhood might again be using murder to manipulate the papacy. Paul VI suddenly died. Admittedly, he was frail, but the sudden worsening of his condition seemed all too convenient to many observers. However, this time, the Illuminati architects got a result they probably were not expecting: a pope who would be at odds with them, John Paul I. Almost immediately after he took office, the new pope showed a great deal of independence. It seemed that John Paul had a special distaste for the corruption he had seen was rampant in the Vatican's finances. While he was the Cardinal of Venice, the Venetian Catholic Bank was sold in a secret deal to the Vatican Bank for a greatly undervalued amount. Profits reaped by a few were estimated at more than $70 million, but the losses to the Venetians were great. The clergy of Venice even lost their pension funds. Instrumental in the deal were bankers Roberto Calvi, his mentor Sindona, and the director of the Vatican Bank, Bishop Marcinkus. After John Paul became Pope, these 3 were still in charge of investing much of the Church's money. In his new position, the pontiff had the power to investigate them and publicly bring out the facts. Altogether, he was poised to uncover illegal dealings that involved almost $1 billion. This would be a serious blow to the Illuminati, who were certainly behind the criminal financial dealings. The danger to the Pope became shockingly clear one day at a private meeting between John Paul and a Russian Orthodox Archbishop, Nicodim. As the meeting began, coffee was poured. Nicodim took the first sip and almost immediately collapsed to the floor and died. His face was very contorted in a horrible and unnatural grimace, as if the death was very painful. The stunned Pope carefully put down his own cup before he sipped. Certainly it came to his mind that the coffee must have been laced with poison that was meant for him. The official doctor, however, quickly proclaimed that the Archbishop had died from what had become the standard cause for deaths at the Vatican, a massive coronary. All the facts surrounding the mysterious death of the Russian Archbishop Nicodim pointed toward an assassination attempt and a cover-up. The Russian's body was embalmed very quickly after his death, without a prior complete medical examination. After the embalming, it would be impossible to perform an accurate autopsy to determine the cause of death, particularly if it involved poison. Also, the coffee the Archbishop drank was never collected for analysis, and no forensic investigation was ever carried out. Although the proof was gone, to many it was clear that the Pope had narrowly escaped being murdered only 10 days after he was elected. The experience proved so frightening that John Paul called a secret meeting with his top 4 cardinals to discuss the situation. The meeting took place on September the 28th, 1978. Only the 4 cardinals and the Pope were in the room. To this day, it is not known exactly what was said, but afterwards, the Pope was moved to take action. He ended the term of Cardinal Vilo as Secretary of State. This was the same Cardinal Vilo whose assistant had been blackmailed in the KGB films taken in 1972. Over the 6 years, this cardinal must have also been drawn into the Illuminati's web. Removing him meant that the Pope had uncovered at least part of the dark secret. But even John Paul could not avoid his fate at the hands of the Illuminati.